How to solve inequalities. The way that you solve equations, you are going to use the very same principle to solve inequalities. But you need to be careful of the sign here. This sign is not equal sign, is less or equals to. So that is what we call inequalities. So inequalities have less or greater than. So now if you solve equations that have inequalities, you just solve for x in a normal way as if like you had an equal sign. But now you just keep the sign as it is. So let's say, for example, we want to solve the first problem. We have what? We have 2x plus 2 less or equals to 1. So to solve now for the value of x, we're just going to treat this as if like we're having an equation. So we're going to move this 2 to the other side so that we're left with x only. So this is going to be 2x, and then when the 2 goes to the other side, it's just going to be 1 minus 2. And therefore what you have is 2x less or equals to 1 minus 2 is the same thing as what? As minus 1. And therefore you have to divide both sides by 2 so that you can get the value of x. So the value of x is less or equals to negative 1 over 2. So now, after solving inequalities, you need to represent these inequalities in your what? In your Cartesian plane. So you're going to say now you are having the value of x to be negative half. So but now this inequality says that the values of x are less than negative 1. So the values of x that are less than negative 1 are the ones that are going to the left. So that means now your inequality drawing must go to the left. And then if you look at this side, is this thing here, this thing indicates now if it is not shaded, that means the negative 1 over 2 is not included. But if it is shaded, it means it is included. So this inequality side, it says less or equals to. That means now this negative 1 over 2 is included. So you are going to shade that if you have less or equals to. So that is how you solve the inequality. You just solve it as an equation, but you make sure that you do what? You draw this thing after that. So now let us look at the second problem. So on the second problem, we are having negative 3x plus 2 greater than and equals to negative 1. So we're going to do the very same thing. We're just going to move the 2 to the other side. So we're just going to have negative 3x. And then when we move the 2 to the other side, that's going to be negative 1 minus 2. And therefore we have negative 3x greater or equals to negative 3. Because negative 1 minus 2 is going to be negative 3. So now, when you divide by a negative number, you see in this case, we're just going to divide with negative 3 on both sides. So when you divide with a negative number, this sign here, if it was looking this way, it changes and it looks the other way around. So now we are dividing with a negative number, so this sign has to change. So you're going to say this will cancel out here. We're going to have x, but the sign will change. The sign will look in this way. It's going to be less or equals to, and then this divided by that is just going to give us 1. So when you divide by a negative number, the sign changes. So that is very much important. So now when you put this now in your diagram, you're just going to say, okay, you have 1 as your critical value. So the values are looking where? Are looking to the left. So you're going to say, okay, they're going to the left. They are less than 1. But now 1 is included because we have equal sign there. So that is how you will solve that second problem. So now if you look at the last problem, we are just having two inequality signs and a number in between. So we have what? We have x plus 3, that is in between 5 and 8. So now how do we solve this? We need to see now, or we are having just two equations. So that means now if we transpose on this side, we must also transpose on that side. So that's the thing here. So you're just going to say if we move the 3 to the other side, we also move the 3 to the other side. So now what is going to happen is that we're going to be remaining with x here in the middle. But now on this side, we're going to have 8, and then 3 when it goes to that side is minus 3. But now this 3 must also move to the other side. So on this side, we're having what? We're having 5. So it's going to be 5 minus 3 because the 3 moves on what? On the two sides. Whatever that you do here on the equation, you do it on both the sides. So now what we will have at the end is just going to be what? It's just going to be 5 minus 3, that is 2, less or equals to x. And then 8 minus 3, that is going to be 5. So that is what we have as our inequality. But now we have to represent this in a sketch. So what we do is that we're just going to draw now to say we have two critical values. We have 2 and 5. You must always have the lower value and the higher value here. So you're going to put now, okay, to say now this one of 2 is included, so you shade it. And then this one of 5 here is not included, so you're just going to draw it like that. And then you just join them like that because they say the values are in between these two numbers. So that is all for this video. Thank you very much.